Your piece of the puzzle is defined. What's the trigger? Entities don't look for lower frequencies. Nobody disses my girl.
Hello and welcome back to another YouTube channel with myself, Lucy Davis. And today I've got one of my dearest friends, BT, with me. How are you, my love?
Hey, we're doing great. Just loving life and living it over here in Florida, staying warm. We're kind of like in the same weather that's behind you, It's really nice.
Yeah, that's what you said to me. Are you in my hood? Are you here with me? It is. It's pretty nice where I am as well. So I know we were speaking with Carla earlier and she's decided to kindly decline this today, didn't she? Because she was like, no, I'm too feisty, Lucy. And as much as we both tried to encourage her to stay on, she wasn't having any of it, was she?
No. It's really fun though, because again, she when she comes out and she communicates, she utilizes a lot of her energies and things of this nature. We've been going through a lot of stuff here in Florida, like I'm sure around the world and around the country where you're at. The energies here are just freaking harsh. And we're getting them like 2 to 4 in the morning. So I don't know what your mornings are like, but 2 to 4 here are like really hard to sleep.
Well, it's wild. That's my word. Can't stop using this word because it's the only word that describes it. I've used crazy in the past. I've used all of these things, but wild because there's no predicting what's happening. Now, for the last maybe 7 weeks, I keep being woken up by an entity, which is quite interesting. So a bit like yourself, there's this window whereby what I'm perceiving to be like the lower vibrational entities, they're like, right, they're sleeping. Let's go and attack them. Let's go and have some fun with them. And, I'm really seeing this as a real thing right now. We are in such a high frequency and we are vibrating at such a rate. But what's also happening on the flip side of that is we've got these energies that are of a much lower vibration, desperately trying to hold on to anything, and it's messing with people that are normally, and I predicted this before May. At the end of April, I said very, very openly, like the men are going to get rattled to the core during May. And I've seen people that are fit and healthy. I got told by one of my good friends yesterday, 40 years of age, good, fit, healthy. He's a personal trainer, MMA fighter, heart attack. None of this, heart attack. Literally, people are being taken out right now and they are, dancing with these lower vibrations because we got to realize that these energies are looking for a home.
Yeah. They're the host that they're looking for too. Remember this, okay? Entities don't look for lower frequencies to host. Okay. A lot of people think, well, that person's, on a low frequency. If they're going to go anywhere, they're going to go there. Well, that's not how it works. They look for higher frequencies to bring down. That's the purpose.
And so what I've noticed recently is it's high vibrational people that have allowed themselves to get angry or something. So the entities easily got in there and then they go and attack other high vibrational beings. I mean, it's very rife around myself, and I know you've mentioned it, and I know we only need to look at Charlie Ward and lots of other people around the world that have been that have ended up in a bit of a sticky predicament of recent. So let's talk about that a little bit more because it's not a subject that I've gone into detail publicly. Obviously we've alluded to the fact that there's these energies and there's these forces at work, but I'd love your opinion and your perspective on it, BT, because you are a man of such wisdom. I love it when I speak to you. I know you're a good friend of mine, but whenever we do these conversations, like I leave and everybody else loves the information that you've given. So what, in your perspective, is this about right now? Like, just from your wisdom and your bird's eye view, if you like, what is this about right now?
When we look at the transition that we're going through, okay, we have to take into consideration not just our views, but everybody else's views within the similar transition that we're going through. And as these views come together and compress, they create a different frequency that does not match up to the normal frequencies of everybody. And so, like now, we see the negative entities attacking high frequency individuals, okay? trying to bring them down to a lower frequency. And while they're working on these lower frequencies to bring these high energy people down to, they got to manipulate them. So like they're like a low high frequency, then they kind of bring it back down. It's almost like probably similar to what the 5G does to the, stuff that's within the system, so to speak. Okay. But that's how these entities are working. Because they have to reach up. Remember, people, there's always a balance of light and darkness. And so when entities are attacking the light, they're reaching their frequency to match the light, and then they bring it back down. And the way they match the light is they come in cloaked. Okay. They come in cloaked. They could be a friend that you've known for 20 years. And all of a sudden, this
you're
person,
sleeping with.
yeah, it could be your partner. It could be any of these individuals. I mean, because again, how do you know what they're going to attack you with? Okay. So we have to be prepared. It could be driving down the road. It could be a song. It could be, a flashing of a light that just is contradicting to your frequency. I mean, there's all these things that are going to be transferring over as we go through this decade, because electricity is the easiest form for entities to manipulate. Okay. It's the easiest. So when people pass over, sometimes people get a flicker of a light, or a television might turn back on, things of this nature, because again, electricity is a frequency.
Yeah.
And so as we move and we see what's transpiring, we have to cloak ourselves from their cloaking ability. Okay. So you got to put the cloak of protection, invisibility around you that protects you from whatever you feel is coming at you. And so like every day when we get up and we drive out and things of this nature out into the world, we put the cloak of protection and visibility around us, around our automobiles, around, our tires, our motor, our heart, all day, everything. And we just say it out loud, do a little prayer, and at the same time, you can actually see the road actually open up within the traffic, because your frequency is much higher. Okay. And so you could actually zig and zag pretty good through the road. Okay.
Yeah,
Because
it's
that's
true.
up.
It's true. If you
Yeah.
set the intention of ease and grace, that's what I do before every journey, allow this journey to be taken with ease and grace. And like yourself, you put your protection up. I always put a golden infinity between me and the vehicle, and I'm just like, hey, like we're a team now. We're going on this journey together. You keep me safe, and I'll keep you safe. And you can. It's like things dissipate in front of you, and they just allow you to flow.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have to do that within the relationship aspect. Okay. Because again, I mean, men and women are going through a different cycle of frequency.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of men who don't have a feminine energy within themselves. They're just all male. Okay. And they're not as compassionate or as loving as they should be.
Empathic.
Yeah, and so what they do is they stay in an unbalanced relationship within their spirit and light versus their soul and flesh. And so this unbalance, and that's the whole purpose of our journey, is to stay in balance. So that way our discernment isn't coming from one direction or another, but it's actually bringing all dimensional energies and frequencies together as we elevate our consciousness.
And remaining balanced, right? I think that's, that is the key of what's going on right now. It's not about being all good or all bad. It's about being balanced and recognizing where you are supposed to be and how you are supposed to be, in your part of the puzzle.
Right. Right. And when we look at the puzzle, each of us are a different piece in the puzzle. Okay.
Absolutely.
Just like I shake my ear here, somebody on the other side of the world might be doing the same, but it's a different puzzle. Okay. I mean, it's defined for your path. Your piece of the puzzle is defined. The question is, are you trying to take your piece of the puzzle, and because of your ego or your fear, your shame or your guilt or your anger, you want to attack everybody and bring everybody down to a lower level? So what you're doing is you're taking scissors and you're cutting that piece of your puzzle to fit any piece on the board, because again, you're just there to cause havoc.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah.
See, but the easiest place to go is family. It really is relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, any of those types of situations. That comes from personal experience, people. I mean, I saw growing up when I started exposing the dark side that individuals were initiated in. Okay. And when I say initiated, they chose that. So they were initiated into this dark light, this dark frequency.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when I started exposing that, I could see how that dark shadow, even though it had to match our light, would come at us and try to sneak in from a positive direction. And then you're like, oh, hey, this is a positive direction. I'm going to look into this. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, you're like a salmon on the run.
Absolutely. Yeah.
With
On the
a hook
hook.
in.
And so let's just give an example of that. You could be out having a drink with your friends, having a coffee or, glass of wine or whatever. And a member of the opposite sex or whatever sex you like could come up to you and literally be everything you've ever asked for. Good looking, fun, charismatic, charming, and spiritual if you're spiritual, Christian if you're Christian, everything that you're ever looking for. And then over time, the reality might kick in. And this is what BT and I are talking about now, about the way that these frequencies, so they are at that frequency, but then they surrender to whatever their soul contract is, because remember, everybody's got a soul contract, and that soul contract might be to take you down.
Yeah. And it happens more frequently than we recognize. Okay. I can honestly say in my lifetime, I've had probably at least several, okay, because I've had a lot of different relationships. I'm older, okay. But I can at least, say at least 2 out of those several, okay, were dramatically like put in that position strictly to try to take me down or out.
Yeah.
And when I say out, literally might put me in a position where I would probably do something that was stupid or, some other form of interference of my path where somebody would, take me out themselves. Okay. Yeah. And it was a difficult situation because again, when you recognize your partner, okay, or your friend or your family member, okay, somebody that you know very well, and all of a sudden they're not supportive in the manner of loyalty. Okay. They're not supportive in the manner of understanding your transition and their role in your transition and vice versa. But instead, what's happening is these people are starting to attack one another. Okay.
Yeah, verbally is something I'm shocked at. I had a situation a couple of days ago where somebody was, I was shocked at what came out of their mouth, and I was like, whoa, okay. And I was like, okay, this is something, not them, this is something else that's trying to work through them. But that's me, and I'm okay with that. But I'm seeing a lot of people like literally screaming at each other in cars. A lot of people have messaged me saying, oh my God, it kicked off in the supermarket, or it kicked off here, or it kicked off there. I'm really seeing it from a verbal perspective at the moment, that people are literally losing their stuff at each other.
Yeah, and it's kind of a positive and a negative situation sometimes, okay? Because the beautiful part about the negative, okay, the negative shadow when it attacks you, people, is you got to find out where you're vulnerable at. Okay, we don't think about that. We just think about the attack and what it occurs and things of this nature. But how many do you really often take a time and sit down and say, every time I've had this situation with this individual or others that are similar, what's the trigger? What am I allowing them to do to bring in the negative energy? Okay. And that's something that, changes as you grow older, just so people know your transition changes your energy. I mean, even myself from, my early teens where I was pretty much a rowdy, so to speak, I mean, the only thing was we never got caught. Okay. Because again, back in the day, it was just the way it was, and so forth. But as time progressed and you start, looking at the negative aspects within your life, and you're releasing this energy and you're moving forward and you're coming to a higher frequency every moment that you recall that memory, so you can clear it. Okay. So every time you recall a memory and you clear it, your transition of frequency raises instantly. Yeah. Okay. Because again, it isn't so much the forgiveness aspect of the acceptance of what took place, but it's how you recognize the good from the negative situation.
Exactly. And this, so for me, in my language, and everybody will know this because they follow me, but for my language, it's okay, this has happened, but what's the healing? What's the gold in this situation? And you could have somebody like this person the other day that was so vulgar with their words. I was like, okay, what's the healing that's come out of it? I very quickly said, that is not the way that I'm going to have anybody speak to me. And I got out of that situation very, very quickly. Whereas before, I might have made a joke of it, or I might have, many years ago, I would have gone back at them in the way that they came at me. So we need to be looking at every area of healing. And I'm not just talking about somebody shouting at you. I mean, everything that is coming up for you right now. If your behavior, you're arguing with your partner, if you are going through some stuff with your kids, like, you need to look at your part of this right now, so that you can say, right, what's the healing here? Like, what is the gold that I need to take from this situation? Because I do think, and I'd love your opinion again on this, BT, a lot of people are using entities or bad energies as excuses.
I agree with that a lot. Okay. Because again, it's an easy thing to point at. All right.
Yeah. Oh, that
Because,
person's got an entity working through them.
yeah. Because people don't want to take the responsibility for their actions. Okay. And you said something here, just a little bit earlier about, people, and how to move them out and what happens and so forth. I mean, we had, some friends over that we've known, I've known for 20 plus years. And, they were on their journey visiting friends all over the United States, and they decided to come through here, which we were kind of surprised, but we're like, yeah, we'll make the time and effort to have you, so we get them here, and, we love these people. Okay. We love these people, but again, our frequencies are raising, and theirs aren't. Okay. And so some of you are probably going through the same situation. All right.
I think my lot will love this conversation, this part of the conversation, BT, because they're all like, I can't live like this anymore. There's just such a difference. I love it. Go on.
And it's hard. Okay. And so, I'm just going to throw it out there, and I'm not trying to talk smack about these people because I love them dearly, but our frequencies have changed. Okay. That I got to be honest about. Okay. So we're here at our home in Florida, and Carla's like, she's like the supreme frickin', individual that, makes sure everything is done to the highest of expectation. Not yours, but hers. And believe me, people, she's got a hell of an expectation of how she wants things done. Okay. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. You come to our house 24/7. I tell you, our house will be as clean as you'll ever imagine.
Like my mother.
Everything in its right place, even my stuff. Okay. Because I've been taught that now. Okay. Since I've been with Carla. All right. Just so you guys know. And so, these people, are just in the worst shape and condition physically, okay, that I've ever seen them in 20 plus years.
Oh, shame.
Okay. And it's like they just gave up and figured, fuck it, and we'll just do whatever we want to do, and who cares. Okay. And they're always surrounded themselves with negative energies, because that's all they want to talk about is what's happened to them in a negative aspect. And I'm like, okay, we can only hear so much this because we've talked to them for 20 plus years and nothing seems to change. Okay, people. So again, this might be important to all of you out there, because I'm sure it happens to some of you. Okay. And we went ahead and we had our ceremony, and did some mushrooms and stuff, and had a little sacred ceremony, and kind of bringing everybody's energies together during this full moon time period when they were here. Well, lo and behold, the next day, the husband, okay, is like just totally being disrespectful to everybody. Okay. I mean, just his energy and the way he's walking around and, pushing his energies and just being disrespectful. And, the first thing that, really got my attention was, we have a sacred medicine wheel, and it's like a 10-foot, square area, where the medicine wheel sits in. And everybody knows it. Okay, that every home we've had it. Okay, nobody goes in it unless it's ceremony. That's just the way it is. You don't go over there. And here he is inside there kicking our rocks around and all this stuff. And I'm like looking at this, and I'm about ready to blow up people. Okay, and I'm like, no, I'm just not gonna say anything right now. Okay, I'm trying to, move on. Maybe he's forgot, and I'll mention it lightly, So I just said, hey, would you mind stepping out of the medicine wheel? Well, he didn't like that because, again, their frequencies are just super low. Okay. And again, remember, people, when you hit a frequency level, the key is not to go backwards, not to allow people to pull you back down into shit frequency. Okay. So you're meant to raise your consciousness. You're meant to be freaking higher in energy. Okay. So again, I'm thinking, okay, this is the negative freaking energies that are trying to pull me down into this energy. Okay. So Carla was making breakfast, and Carla, like I said, she goes full board. Okay. And so, 7-course breakfast, so to speak. All right. So anyway, you know, and he knows that she's cooking this breakfast. All right. So she gets breakfast ready, and I holler, hey, he's still out there talking to his friend, no longer in the medicine wheel. Okay. He kind of got out of there, but anyway, she says, let everybody know. So I let everybody know. What does he do as soon as the food starts getting up? He gets up, picks up his phone, and makes a phone call and walks out. Okay. And nobody disses my girl. Okay. I'm just saying, that's just not a freaking thing, because he didn't have to make the phone call. Do you see what I'm saying? He did that purposely to be a freaking jerk. Okay. And I thought, man, I can't believe this. And so he's out there talking, and we're starting to eat. And I just said, hey, you're really kind of disrespecting Carla. That's what I told him. He's outside 30 feet away. So I hollered it out to him saying, hey, you disrespected my girl. I don't appreciate it. But he goes off. I mean, he freaks out. I've been waiting for this freak out. So it was just that little nudge. Okay. And he goes off. And by this time, Carl and I are looking at each other going, hell with this shit. I love everybody, don't get me wrong, but you don't come into our home and freaking, I don't care how many years it is, and disrespect us, kick my medicine wheel rocks around, and then freaking disrespect Carla. Okay, you can disrespect me because I can deal with it, but don't disrespect Carla. All right. And so they got up, him and the wife, and they went outside and they were talking, because I'm sure she felt bad, because again, she's the higher frequency in the relationship. Yeah. Listen to this, people. Most women are in the higher frequency of the relationship. The men are in the lower. Okay. And so she's trying to get his shit together. Okay. Well, by that time, Carl and I have already decided, well, this isn't going to work. I mean, they're going to stay here, another week and a half, and we've had this kind of a blow up. This ruins the whole entire freaking vacation for us and for them.
Yeah.
And so Carl and I basically said, hey, we love you, but pack your shit, get to the road, call an Uber, because we're done.
Yeah.
And again, it isn't that we're mean or harsh or anything. Our frequencies have changed.
Yeah. I actually think this is such an important subject here, BT, because a lot of people out there, and I've had this directed at myself recently, you're spiritual. You're supposed to be all love and light and all positive. I can tell you to fuck off if I need to tell you to fuck off. And just that. Yeah. Don't you ever take this as weakness because I'm kind and because I've got a frequency that very few match up to these days. Don't you dare think that you can come into my space and disrespect me and me not tell you to get stuffed.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. Okay. Spiritual people have been always put in a position to fucking turn the other cheek. Okay, I'm just saying, people.
It's always rise above it, rise above it, right? And I think sometimes you've got to put a motherfucker in his place.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do.
Go, sisters.
And it's not easy. Okay, because again, I'm sitting here going, man, this is a 20-year friendship. I
Oh,
mean,
not nice.
we've been through shit and this and that. And for them to freaking come, for him to do that was just so wrong. Okay.
Yeah,
At the same time, I have to accept, and this is the hard part for all of us out there that go through this. Okay. I have to accept his lower frequency will never be where we are unless he determines his own change in destiny.
exactly.
Okay. And the problem is the majority of people, when you're put in this position, that individual will not determine his own destiny. He will not, or she will not respectfully, say, hey, I fucked up or this or that. Okay. Their ego will take over and they will try to do anything and everything. So sometimes you just have to sever the relationship. And so what we did, and this is what we did, honestly, people, is we said to the wife, we said, hey, we love you. You didn't come at us. We know your frequency's, rising, even though, you look like shit. Okay. I mean, really,
There's a
I'm
lot
being,
of people like that
yeah,
at the moment, though,
yeah,
BT. They've let
yeah,
themselves go. They've genuinely they've eaten too much, drank too much, done all of
yeah.
these things, and people are looking rough right now.
We're
You know,
looking
not
bad.
everybody. A lot of
Yeah,
people are looking amazing. Like I think I'm looking better than I've ever looked in my life.
yeah,
Genuinely,
yeah,
I'm
well, yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'm
we
going
are,
back
we
in
are.
years, man. I'm like, yes, get in. Yeah, I know, right? But this comes, and I know it probably sounds like I'm being completely egotistical here. I'm only saying it tongue in cheek, but on a serious note, it's because I put myself on a deep fast. I've put myself through all sorts of things so that I can get the gold to go inwards and bring all this up. But a lot of people are distracting themselves right now with food, with alcohol, with drugs, with cigarettes, with anything that they possibly can get their hands on. And unfortunately, this is perpetuating the energies and the lower vibrational frequencies to be able to run havoc within people.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
And misery, again, remember, always loves company,
oh my
right?
God. And drama
Yeah.
loves company, right?
Oh,
Oh my God,
oh,
everything's a drama. I can't stand drama.
yeah. Drama. See, and again, drama, anger, all these areas that, I've talked about. Like I said, I say it with the utmost respect because I've said this to them already, people. All right. It's like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
haven't heard it. All right. And again, we love people to elevate their consciousness, but for me to work with people, okay, because I'm a shaman, I've been doing it since I was at the age of 5 being taught, and I'm an old dude now, and I mean, the many decades of retirement, so to speak, but I feel good. Okay. I feel good because I've taken care of myself because I know this transition is important.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when we look at the relationship, when you come across this with somebody, okay, the acceptance that their frequency might not ever get to yours is something that is really difficult to understand and to accept. I'm just going to be honest, it was hard for me. Okay. Over
Mm.
the years that I've gone through this with people in my life. Okay.
And God ultimately decides, BT, right? Like
Yeah.
God ultimately decides. You might want something so badly from a space of ego, but if God says, it's never going to be right for you, like it gets removed, right?
Right. And it gets removed in the manner of timing within God's timing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Not yours. That's important to realize. Okay. We can,
None
we
of
can,
us are in control. We're all just
and we can
squirrels.
assist. Okay. We can assist the best of our ability, but still, that door's open until it's completely shut according to God. It really is. Okay. We can shut it, but again, it just depends on that individual. Okay. So again, our home is always open to that same individual who I was communicating to, but only when consciousness within themselves recognize their situation, what they have to do to move forward. Okay.
Well, I feel really flattered because before we came on air, you and Carla were like, come and stay with us for a bit. Come and stay. And had I known this story, I'd be like, are you sure? Are you sure you want somebody else in your home after this experience? So I feel completely flattered now. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. But we've had other people stay, since that time. But anyway, and they all know the story, okay? Because
Yeah.
again, everybody, recognizes, when you come onto our property, first of all, our 2.5 acres here has been gridded with stones everywhere, from every corner of the property throughout the property. And it doesn't matter what type of stone I've utilized, from obsidian to pyrite to, I can go in all the different stones. All right. But when you come in, you cross the culvert, there's a difference in energy.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I mean, everybody that's coming, we had Sacha Stone here just the other day, and he wanted to, kind of check out the stones and all this stuff and some of the things that we had that were really, unknown to most people. And so he couldn't believe. Matter of fact, he had an appointment that he actually almost probably missed because he just blew it off because he was having so much fun, him and Allie here, And then he looked at his watch. He's like, holy shit, I got to get going. How far is Sarasota? I'm like, well, that's about 2.5, 3 hours. He's like, oh my God, but that's what happens all the time. I mean, and it
Get
doesn't
caught
matter.
Up in the little bubble.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful part about it. I mean, our property's on a ley line, and that was one of the reasons why we bought it and stuff like this. But it's important to know that if spiritual people, okay, Lucy, you go through this circumstance, at least you're not the only ones that have gone through it. Okay. And I ain't proud to say I've gone through it. I wish I didn't. But again, I had to go through the experience because, again, it's happening everywhere.
But I actually think right now we're all being faced with this. We're all being faced with, are you going to stand in your truth? Are you going to be authentic? Are you going to put that person in a box? Because this is the fundamental about it, right? Yeah. So many of us have been the love and light brigade of, oh no, I can't possibly speak my truth. Oh no, I need to rise above it. That we're still having those lessons come back into us. And I actually think that we're in a period of time now where we say, no, enough is enough. I'm not going to be the love and light brigade. I'm going to speak my truth. You want to go? Let's go. And that doesn't mean toe to toe being nasty and vindictive in those things, but you have to have your boundaries up. You have to have your barriers up. And the only way that you can do that is by knowing who you are, knowing your standards, knowing your values, knowing your belief systems.
Yeah. And on top of everything that you just said, which was beautiful in detail, okay, is the action that you're going to take when it happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Because again, we have to stand taller now. We're at a spiritual, war. We're at a physical war. We're at all these aspects. We have the food war going on. We have transportation war going on. We have economic wars going on. We have all these things happening. And so as we're going through this transition, dig into yourself. Okay. Quit worrying about everybody else's issues. Focus on yours, and then go to the people that have experienced similar issues and get their advice if you can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Because again, it doesn't do Lucy any good or me any good to give advice to something we haven't had no experience.
No, we can give it like a channeled opinion or whatever, but it's important to go to those that you resonate with.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that everybody's going through it at the moment. If it's not their health, it's their wealth. If it's not their wealth, it's their family. If it's not their family, it's their relationship. And I truly believe that all of us are being asked to level up right now. And I don't know, again, how you feel about this, BT, but I feel very strongly that we are in a period of karmic cleansing right now. Whatever shit you've ever done in your life, you are being beaten by the karma stick right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was kind of funny because like Carl and I and Lucy were talking earlier about, how we sleeping at night, what's going on, what energies are you feeling? And here, about a week ago, Carla woke up the morning. She's like, damn, I feel like I went through a freaking boxing match. And I'm looking around going, what? And she's like, no, no bruises, people, no bruises. Okay. But she said she felt like she was in the etheric energies and she was in this fight and this battle. And I think all of us are going through that same situation because I feel the same way at different times, here in the last probably 8 months and a little bit more stronger energies where when you wake up, you feel lethargic. You see like almost a soft film in front of you when you're looking through. Yeah. And all these different energies and frequencies that are playing each one of us to a different way, depending on where you're at, I think. Yeah. Because again, minerals have a lot to do with how frequencies are utilized.
Absolutely.
And so here in Florida, because we're, this was basically ocean, okay, now we're just Everglades and swampland, which is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I love the weather here. But the frequencies that come here at night, like if you go out at nighttime and you're looking at the sky, okay, and you'll see, the chemtrails that they do over here in Florida, okay, and normally when the frequencies are just chemtrail frequencies, they're just kind of jagged. Okay. So if you just took like a jagged line like that, that's how each of the clouds break up and they look like they could just like compress back together.
Yeah.
But here in the last month, the frequencies shifted. Now we have frequencies that are in a circular momentum. Okay. And their circular momentum is really different because we have an outer ring. And this is something that I when I looked at it, it went right to my head, and I thought, wow, it almost looks like if you took the old maps of Atlantis, and you know how Atlantis was round and it had
all the rings.
Yes, it was almost like that, but in the sky.
Yeah.
With
the
clouds.
Wow.
Okay, the way the frequencies were.
I sent a crop circle picture to some friends earlier. I'm going to send it to you because it's just I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. And I just feel like after you saying that, I need to send it to you, so I will do.
Yeah, because again, we don't know if that was a positive frequency or a negative frequency.
Absolutely.
All I know, I was getting hit hard.
Yeah.
That's why I got up in the middle of the night and go out and look and stuff. But
it's fascinating. So I keep being presented with like David and Goliath at the moment. It's really fascinating. And I'm like, okay, this is an interesting energy, but it's a bit of a battle energy. And I woke up a few days ago, maybe a week ago now, and I felt as if I'd done loads of really heavy squats and I hadn't been. Like I really felt as if I'd been lifting like rocks on my back or something. I had a bit of a stiff back, but it was like my legs where I'd been like almost pressing up with a lot of weight on me. Very weird because I hadn't been at the gym and I hadn't been to Muay Thai. So God knows.
You could have been running the stairs in the pyramids, girl. Who knows?
Funny you should say that, my love. Funny you should say that. I think that's a perfect place to end this video today. BT, I love you so much. It is my absolute pleasure to have you on here. I know everybody's going to go wild, especially when you were like, no one disses my girl. All the women will be like, swoon, get me one of those. Come on, Lucy, get me one of those. So, darling, it's lovely to see you as always. We will do another video again super soon. And ladies and gents, please give it up in the comments for BT and we will have him back here super soon. Guys, we love you and we will see you next time. Lots of love.
You too, guys. Bye-bye.